What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show. Thanks for joining me today for my coughing. Thanks for joining me today for another episode of Drive Time with Rebecca. This is getting to be like my new favorite thing because I feel like I'm always in the car driving somewhere, and now I get to, come up with a topic and record these videos and totally be productive as I'm doing things. So until I get my self-driving car and can, list while I'm driving, this will be the next best thing for productivity. But today's topic is something kind of like a response to questions that I get on Instagram and on some of my videos about selling to like local consignment stores, specifically when I say that I'm selling to like style Encore or Plato's. If that's what you have, I don't really go to Plato's. They never take anything from me. Or Once Upon a Child for kids and maternity wear, things like that. So when I go to the bins and I purchase items, my main goal is to make the most of the trip and try to squeeze as much profit as I possibly can out of the 20-25 minute drive there, the tolls that I pay there, the 3 hours that I spend there, and the 20 to 25 minute drive back, and the tolls on the way back. So I want to get as many items, as much profit as I can out of that trip, especially because I can't go really more than 2 times a week. Like 2 times a week is usually about the average. Every once in a while, if the stars align, I can get there more, but most of the time I'm only going 2 times a week. And so I need enough stuff to kind of last me, unless I want to go and pay up at the Goodwill retail, which I really don't want to do, or whatever. So the goal is to squeeze as much profit as I can. And in doing that, I'm really trying to be more mindful of what I put in my online store. Because if you've been watching me and following me for a little bit now, you'll know that I do a lot of different things to kind of sell on multiple levels. I do a clearance sale for $1, kind of like a $1 garage sale where all the clothing items that I'm trying to clearance out, I sell for $1 if they haven't sold. I sell to the consignment stores, which we're going to talk specifically about today. I sell online, of course, and I try to put some things on Facebook. So I do a number of different things to kind of go through, and, I run different sales sometimes to clearance items out. I've sold things to ThredUp before, which I haven't done in a while. So there's a lot of things that I do to make the most out of an item once I've already purchased it. And if it was a bad pickup, a bad buy to begin with, and I put it in my store, not only did I do work to, have it photographed and listed. When I used to work with a photographer, I would have it, I'd be paying her to photograph it, then I pay my VA to list it, then it's being shared over and over again, and so that costs time and money, of course, and then, running a sale, taking it out of inventory if I'm going to clearance it out. There's just so many things that go into a bad buy that I'm really trying to lower that and mitigate that risk. So if I'm concentrating more on the front end and being a disciplined sourcer and only putting the best of the best in my store, what do I do with when I come across items at the bins that are perfectly good, that can be sold in some way, shape, or form, but I don't want to put them in my store? It's not worth my time to put it in my store for, let's say, $10, and only make a few dollars profit, or I don't know if it's going to sell, but it is new with tags, or, there's just a lot of different factors. And so there are just items that you come across at the bins that you don't want to put in your store, but are perfectly good and sellable in some way, shape, or form. That's what I do with selling to the consignment store. So some of those things are like this. And I would say that this would probably vary because I have 2 style Encores near me, and they both cater to a different market because they both have a different, clientele that frequents that particular location. So your style Encore or your local consignment store or your whatever option you're thinking of when watching this video for yourself may be completely different. But for me, there are some that are more looking for more plus. There are some that are looking for more of the anthro stuff. There's just different things. But I would say right now, items that are difficult to photograph but are perfectly good are probably the biggest thing that I want to get to them and make money on. Items that are long, like maxi dresses, pantsuits, rompers and jumper, well, not really rompers, but like things that are long, maxi dresses, formal wear, things like that. If you come across something that's perfectly good and you're like, I don't want to take pictures of this, but it's definitely worth something, but I don't want to deal with it, that's a great item to take to a Style Encore or some such consignment store, because as long as the numbers work out, again, you have to identify, if you're buying at the bins, what your, kind of average per item cost is, or what your per pound cost is, because if it's something that's longer, let's say, it's gonna have more fabric, therefore it's gonna weigh a little bit more. So you need to kind of get an idea in your head of the weight versus what I could sell this for based on the brand. Like if I go to Style Encore with a lower end brand, they're only gonna give me $1 to $2 for it. If I go with a higher end brand, usually my average is between $3 and $4 for all items. So if my average is between $3 and $4 for all items, and I can get something that's a pound or a pound and a half, I'm gonna always be making profit, no matter what it is. But you can, you have to be mindful of what your situation is gonna be, because all the bins per pound prices are different, and all of the consignment store payouts will be different. But that's my general rule. Like if I'm buying something and it's a pound or a pound and a half, that's gonna cost me about $2 or less. And if I can quick flip it in one trip along with multiple other items, when I go to Style Encore, making the most of that trip, then I'm looking for $3 to $4, payout from them. So I'm basically doubling my money for all intents and purposes, on average. And I'm okay with that. I mean, if you're already at the bins and you're already picking up things that you're gonna put in your store, and then you happen to find a subset of items that you can quickly flip and double your money on, what I look at it as is that's gonna pay out some of your expenses. So whatever I make at Style Encore, I figure, well, that covers my inventory budget. So it's like I got all my inventory for free this month. Or when I had my photographer, I would say, if I could make enough by selling to Style Encore, that will pay for my photographer's salary. It's like she doesn't cost me anything this month. So I look at it as that, as a way to basically reimburse myself for expenses so that everything else becomes more pure profit. It really doesn't matter how you look at it, the numbers are the numbers. So if you're buying at the bins and you spend $100 and you can flip some of your items and get $200 at, Style Encore, plus still have things left over to sell, now you're in a great position. So things that I don't want to photograph is number one. Then I would say the next thing that I pick up are items that are a less desirable brand but are new with tags. So like an Aeropostale, a Forever 21, a Kohl's brand, let's see, a Target brand that's brand new with tags, like a Merona or something like that. I'm trying to think of what are some other, like, even what's that one, Time and True, I think that's Walmart. So those kinds of items I'm really staying away from. Oh, like a Liz Claiborne, items and brands that I'm just really not kind of dealing with in my store anymore. Old Navy is another example, because they are catering to people a variety of price points at these stores, and so they're going to want to have things at all levels, and someone may want to go in and only pay a handful of dollars for something, so they're going to take a new with tags Old Navy piece if it's something that meets their criteria, which is usually like a current style, things like that. And so if you're picking up a Old Navy item that's lightweight, that's brand new with tags, you don't want to put it in your store, but it's obviously perfectly good, take that stuff to, a Style Encore or a local consignment store or something like that. That is like a perfect type of item for that. Let's see, the next kind of item would be like, I don't want to say a too good item, and I'm only more recently experimenting with this, but I would say like an item that is valuable, and is pricey, but you know that that particular brand either just doesn't have a good online resale value, or I'm having trouble thinking of one right now off the top of my head, but there have been certain scenarios where I felt like, you know, this isn't going to even happen on Poshmark. Like, it's too good. Nobody's going to even know what it is, or it's not popular, or whatever the situation is. You may not want to sit and wait on a long tail high-end item. One of them could be like a St. John. You know, you have to find the right person for it. People always get excited to sell it. I can't sell it in my closet to save my life. My sister sells it all the time. So it's like one of those things where I could just take it to Style Encore, quick flip it. They're going to do a good payout on that. That's not going to be your average payout. That's going to be a higher payout, and be rid of the thing. And I got my money. I, you know, paid for my inventory, and have all of these other more popular in-demand things that I can sell online. And I really think that that's where I'm kind of going with my store more, is more middle of the road popular things rather than super high-end stuff, because I don't always want to sit and wait on that for forever. You know, I just don't, that's not my mentality. I want to quick flip things. And just because it's high-end doesn't mean that it's popular, or just because it's high-end doesn't mean it's in demand. There's a smaller market for it, perhaps. So those are kind of like 3 criteria. There's more, but it's really a case-by-case basis. Most of the time, I would say the biggest thing is going to be, I don't want to take photographs of it. I just don't think it's going to photograph well. You know, I don't do a mannequin. I'm really trying to even not deal with my half hanging mannequin, Amy, that much. Sorry, Amy. But it just, you know, a whole project, and I just don't feel like dealing with it. So if it's long, if it's something that just isn't going to photograph well, you're just not going to be able to capture it, and you need to like see it in real life, those are great items to quick flip at Style Encore or consignment store. New with tags, lower end items that you don't want to carry in your store because of the level of the brand, but are perfectly good to quickly flip for a couple of dollars. Those are probably the 2 main things. And then if you're someone that doesn't want to deal with a super high-end thing, or has trouble selling a particular brand like a St. John, or even Anthropologie for that matter, you know, some people say like, I can't sell Anthropologie to save my life. I pick it up all the time and nothing happens. You know, I mean, that could very well be something that you might want to take to Style Encore, or some such consignment store. So those are my 3 main categories. I hope that answers the question for those that have specifically asked it, and for those that maybe were wondering but haven't asked it, because I do have great success with it, and it is time consuming and difficult sometimes to get up there and manage. What is this guy doing? Now you see my driving personality, which is belligerent to say the least. People make me crazy. Listen, I'm from Jersey, so anyway, so those are my thoughts on it. I hope that's helpful to you. I appreciate you watching. I would love to know if you have a different kind of strategy for it, and sell to a consignment store often. I would love to hear what your strategy is, because maybe there are some other hidden gems that I can pick up at the bins and take to a store like that, that I'm not thinking of. So I would love any of your strategy tips to share with me and the other moms in this reseller mom community. Like this video on the way out, and go ahead and subscribe for more reseller mom content to get more done, make more money, and stay sane while raising kids and reselling online. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.